Now, what exactly does it say? Go to Isaiah 24:21. Now, we're going to look at real quickly. It's cover to cover in Isaiah. It's not all in chapter 59 onward. It's scattered. But Isaiah 24 and verse 21, it shall come to pass in that day, the Lord will punish on high the host of exalted ones and the earth and the kings of the earth. Satan is overcome by Christ and imprisoned. Now, Revelation tells us that in chapter 20. Then Jesus, Isaiah 2:4, becomes the king of the whole earth. Look at Isaiah 2 and verse 4. He shall judge between the nations. He will rebuke many people. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. When Jesus returns, global peace. That's part of the millennium. Only believing Jews and Gentiles enter the kingdom. Isaiah 35, look at verses 8 through 10. And this is what it says, verse 8. A highway shall be there, and a road shall be called the highway of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for others. Whoever walks the road, although a fool, shall not go astray. No lion shall be there. Verse 10. Then the redeemed of the Lord shall return. Someone wrote a chorus about this. And come with singing to Zion, and everlasting joy will be on their heads. That's how the millennium starts. The people that survive the destruction of Jerusalem and the ending of the Antichrist and the false prophet and the chaining of Satan they're going to be like Word of Life Bible Institute students that are at their peak of joy. They're the ransom of the Lord, and they come to Zion with singing and everlasting joy on their heads, verse 10. But that's all that enters the millennium. You understand, the millennium is only populated by Christians, born-again, saved people. Yet, listen to this. More than can be counted at the end of the millennium. See, the people start having children, and they're living 1,000 years in a perfect environment with no PFOAs, no toxic, no lead, no arsenic, no forever chemicals. Perfect environment, no pollution anywhere, food abundant, no skin cancer anymore. Perfect environment. And they have kids, and their kids have kids, and there are billions of people on the earth. But a perfect environment with no Satan, with no sickness, with only believing parents, the next generation doesn't fully embrace the Lord. Well, basically, Satan is judged. That's Revelation 20. We're not covering Revelation, but that's right here in the midst of what Isaiah says. And it says this in Revelation chapter 20, verses 1 through 3. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven. He had the key to the bottomless pit, and a great chain was in his hand. He laid hold of the dragon, the serpent of old, that is the devil and Satan. Remember, we saw that verse in chapter 12. And bound him for, what does your Bible say in verse 2? What's the next word? 1,000 years. And look at verse 3. And he cast him into the bottomless pit. Remember, I showed you a picture of that? There's the bottomless pit, and there's the Sheol and Hades and all that. And set a seal on him that he should not deceive the nations anymore till and what's the next thing your Bible says? 1,000 years. So how long is the millennium? 1,000 years. And that's how long Satan is restrained. Now remember this, I've already shown you this. This is the abyss. The pit, this is where Satan is chained. This is where the destroyer is. It's where the angels from the time around the flood are. And that begins, that restraint of Satan begins, verse 4. Then I saw thrones, Revelation 20, and they that sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. And I saw, by the way, that's us. Did you know, Paul told the Christians in Corinth, he says, what are you doing going to court and fighting against Christians legally? Don't you know that you're going to judge? You're going to be part of God's team that's working in the millennium with the billions of people on earth. There are going to be thrones. And I saw the souls of those that have been beheaded for the witness of Jesus. Those are the tribulation martyrs. But the rest of the dead did not live until the 1,000 years, verse 5. And on and on it goes. So that's the millennial rule of the Messiah. Now we go back to Isaiah. Look what Isaiah says. During the millennium, there's universal peace. If you've been following the news, it says that while there's been this brief peace for the last few years in Gaza, they were busily hauling in as many arms as they could and weapons and putting them underneath the hospitals so they would be undamaged. That's not universal peace, that's universal deception. Isaiah says during the millennium, God enforces universal peace. Christ restrains all violence. Remember, the government shall be upon his shoulders. We covered that in chapter 9. Christ will rule the world in righteous goodness. You know, we have all kinds of politicians. I can't wait until the real Prince of Peace comes.